the ever-changing world of relationships, sometimes the best way to draw someone closer is to take a step back. It may sound paradoxical, but that's the power of silence, a surprising strategy rooted in Stoic philosophy, where self-control and patience are paramount. Today, we will explore the surprising reasons why giving someone space and letting go can make them crave your presence more than ever. From there, we will learn how to use silence as a powerful tool to cultivate attraction, while also drawing profound lessons from Stoicism to help you build stronger and more meaningful relationships. Before we embark on this journey to uncover the power of silence, I invite you to affirm your self-worth with me. Take a deep breath and confidently declare, "Silence is my allure." Let's spread this message with a simple click. Hit like so this video can reach and inspire more people. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. That's an invaluable gift of support, fueling our motivation to continue creating and sharing meaningful content with you. At this point, I want to remind you of something important. If you choose silence just to hope that your ex will come back, you haven't truly changed. From that very moment, you've already lost yourself because you're placing the focus of your life on someone else instead of on yourself. However, if you choose silence to move forward, to rise strong amidst life's storms, to live fully and proudly as yourself, seeing your ex's return as merely a byproduct of your positive transformation, then you have already won from the very first moment. Life does not operate based on what you desire, but rather on the energy and value you project. You do not attract what you want, but what resonates with the person you are becoming. Growth and inner change are the most valuable outcomes of this journey. When you become the best version of yourself, the universe seems to respond, bringing opportunities and people who are aligned and deserving of the inner values you are cultivating. So now let's begin this journey of self-transformation. Humans often live with a paradox. They only recognize the value of what they have once it's gone. What they cannot attain becomes something they crave and glorify beyond its true worth, while things that are right beside them are overlooked and taken for granted. When they have it, they see it as a given. Only when it's lost do they feel the regret. In love, this paradox is even more evident. Perhaps you have been the one who was ignored, the one who gave your heart completely but received only indifference in return. When you were still there, they didn't care, never looked at you differently, as if you were just something they expected to be in their life. But then one day, you decide to walk away, to let go of everything. You stop pursuing, no longer giving them the attention that had become a habit. That's when they start to feel the emptiness, to recognize the void you once filled. They might have treated you like a toy lying there without any intention of touching it. But when you disappear, when no one is there anymore with unconditional patience, suddenly you become valuable in their eyes. Their indifference turns into regret, and they might even come back, feeling the unrequited love that you once did. But by then, will you still feel the same, or will you have become stronger and more serene, viewing everything with clarity and self-respect? It all depends on you. If you treat them like stars in the sky, they will only see you as a mere fan beneath their feet. This is an undeniable truth in relationships. When you pour all your attention and excessively idolize someone, they feel like they are in control, while you become just a follower, constantly seeking their approval. Therefore, the most important thing you need to do right now is to stop idealizing them. Stop seeing them as the center of your world and turn your focus back to yourself. When you stop focusing on them, you will realize that there are many things more deserving of your attention: your emotions, your mental health, and your personal growth. In this phase, silence becomes a powerful tool. It not only helps you create the necessary distance to objectively reassess the relationship, but also gives you time to heal, recover from within, and become stronger. The Stoics always advise us to focus on what we can control instead of letting our minds wander aimlessly. They believe that the most important thing in life is to master ourselves and act according to the principles we set. In the context of love, chasing after someone, trying to persuade them to return, is something beyond your control. It's an action driven by the fear of loss and the desire to cling to the past, rather than by calmness and reason. Let's take a specific example to understand this better. Imagine you are in a relationship, and suddenly your partner decides to break up. You are shocked, hurt, and feel like your world is falling apart. Your first reaction might be to explain, to beg, to convince them how much you love them and how valuable this relationship is. You call, you text, you try every way to meet them, hoping these actions will change their mind. But reality often doesn't work that way. The more you try to hold on, the more they push you away, feeling annoyed by your relentless persistence. The reason is that you are playing by their rules, putting them on too high a pedestal, to the point where you turn yourself into someone begging for affection. Meanwhile, they have gotten used to you always being there, always available, always waiting. Your excessive attention only makes them feel like they have total control and you are dependent on them. So, what happens if you change your strategy? Instead of trying to convince them to come back, you choose to be silent. You stop all contact, no calls, no messages, no attempts to meet. At first, this might surprise them. Typically, they expect you to plead, to beg, to do everything to maintain your presence in their life. But instead, they now face nothing but a quiet void, with no response from you. This silence is a reaction completely opposite to what they expected. This will make them start questioning you. Why are they so silent? Zrenia, have they moved on? Swing, did they find someone else? Swing, why don't they need me like before? These questions will slowly arise in their mind, and that's the first step to making them think about you again. By not reacting the way they anticipated, you have regained balance in the relationship. You show that you are not controlled by emotions or their actions. You are living the way you want, you are in control of your life. This makes them realize that you are not easily manipulated, that you have independence and your own value. Through this silence, you also have the opportunity to look back on the entire relationship from a different perspective. You can evaluate whether this relationship was truly good for you, whether you want to continue with someone who no longer values you. At the same time, you will have time to heal the wounds, develop yourself, and become the best version of who you can be. When you know how to control yourself and not let your emotions take over, you create a powerful attraction, making the other person rethink about you, and no matter the outcome, you will still be the winner because you have found peace and freedom in your soul. Always remember that your happiness does not depend on whether the other person comes back or not, but in your ability to value and love yourself. But you need to remember that during this phase, when a relationship ends, the other person has not yet felt the true emptiness of your absence in their life. They need a complete breakup, not a half-hearted separation filled with regrets and desperate attempts to hold on. A real breakup is when the person who left has to face the complete absence of you. They will check their phone for weeks, months, even years, and find no sign of you. That is when a true end is reached, a real parting of ways, not a situation where one person leaves and the other clings on in vain. When the loving messages stop coming, the caring calls go silent, and your presence is no longer taken for granted, that's when they will truly feel the void you've left behind. Your silence is not just a physical absence, but also the disappearance of the emotions and care you once offered them. In those lonely and uncertain moments, they will begin to realize your value, the significance of those seemingly small things you brought into their life. So, be resolute with your strategy of absolute silence, even though you know this path is not easy. But to create a real shift, you need courage and patience. If you worry that your silence will only be met with silence from the other side, see it as a test of sincere feelings, because if they genuinely care, they will find a way to reach out. And if they don't, you have your answer, and there is no reason to regret someone who does not value you. Sometimes, silence is the best way to recognize your own worth and to find true happiness. Stoic philosophy teaches us, don't seek approval or salvation from others, but focus on what is within your own control. Stop contacting them, love yourself, and invest time in developing and enhancing your own value. This is not just a way to regain your position, but also the path to achieving inner peace. When you remain steadfast and self-disciplined, the change and tranquility within you will compel them to reflect, to think deeply, and perhaps they will realize the strong person they have lost. When you choose silence, you're also subtly declaring to them that you are not someone who can be easily manipulated. You're no longer a puppet controlled by someone else's emotions or actions. This silence represents self-mastery and affirms that you know your own worth, that you don't need to speak out to be acknowledged or to prove anything. It is a powerful statement that you are in control of yourself and will not allow anyone to dictate your happiness or peace of mind. Imagine eating a slice of pizza every single day. Initially, you love it, and the melted cheese and the savory pepperoni make you crave it endlessly. But as you keep eating it day after day, you start to feel bored. The once loved flavor becomes mundane and dull. Eventually, you reach a point where you don't even want to see another slice of pizza. However, after being away for a while, busy with your own things, not having a chance to taste that familiar dish, one day, you get to enjoy it again. That first bite after such a long time feels amazing, and the pizza tastes better than ever. Only then do you realize that stepping away for a while can help you rediscover your passion and savor what you once took for granted. Love is no different. Sometimes, distance is the perfect spice to rekindle feelings and make them more vibrant. When you and your partner spend too much time together, their presence may become something predictable and ordinary. They're always there, readily available, which makes them easy to overlook and take for granted. You may no longer see them as someone special, but as an expected part of your daily routine. For example, take a couple who have been together for years, sharing everything from joy to sorrow. Over time, the closeness and repetitive habits make the relationship lose its spark. They start arguing over trivial things, losing the initial excitement they once had. When one decides to take a break to reflect, that distance feels like an invisible wall, making it hard for both to reconnect. This is when the greatest challenge of love arises. However, that silence and distance, instead of cooling down the relationship, can become a chance for both to introspect and listen to their true inner voices. The person left behind will go through feelings of emptiness and loneliness, walking down familiar streets, visiting favorite cafes without the other by their side. These seemingly simple moments will remind them of how much they miss and long for you. They will realize that your presence has filled their life more than they ever knew. The shared meals, those casual walks, the gentle hand-holding, all these moments suddenly become precious and irreplaceable. It is this absence that will make them reflect deeply on the relationship. When you no longer send caring messages, when the calls cease, they will start wondering, "What are you doing? Are you thinking about me? Are you happy?" These questions will slowly seep into their mind, making them feel a sense of loss and regret. They will feel like that once familiar pizza, neglected due to over-familiarity, now becoming something they long for once more. Another example is when a close friend or family member goes away. When they're always around, we may not see their presence as something special. But when they're gone, suddenly, we miss those shared laughs, the talks, or simply their presence. You realize that their absence has left a significant void. Similarly, in love, when you're no longer there, no more goodnight texts, no more checking in, the void you leave behind will make the other person rethink the relationship you both had. The only way for your ex to realize your worth is when they truly feel your absence in their life. Let them walk down those familiar streets, visit those cafes you used to frequent together, and stroll along the roads where you used to walk side by side, without you there. Let this silence become a catalyst, a reminder of what you brought to their life. Silence is not just a physical absence, but also the withdrawal of the emotions and care you once gave them. Distance is not an end, but a way for people to recognize each other's true value. If you are brave enough to be silent, to maintain patience and self-control, you will find that this can create a miraculous transformation. And when they realize it, long for you, and come back, you will no longer be the one chasing after them. Instead, you will be the one making the decision, whether this love is still worth continuing or not.